I first meet somebody, for instance, on a coaching call or something like that, they're always unhappy with their practice. There's something they don't like. It's putting enough stress on them that they're having trouble continuing. And so the first thing they want to do when we get on the phone is they want to tell me about all the things that are going wrong. Because that's what we focus on as doctors, is the problems that are in front of us. And what I can tell you is there's a really simple truth when it comes to having a more fulfilling practice, having a more fulfilling life. And that is, you can avoid everything you don't want, and you still won't get what you do want, because in order to get what you do want, you have to figure out what that is and you have to go get it. So the first thing we always work on is helping the doctor create what we call an ideal job description. So in an ideal world, what would your practice look like? What kind of patients would you be seeing, doing what kind of things, for what kind of hours, and what kind of pay, on what kind of team, where in the world? And once a person has a really good idea of what they really want, it's a lot easier to head in that direction than potentially cope with all the things you don't want that are happening right now. Now, most of the people that I work with already have a job. It's not like they're graduating from their residency program and it's their first job. So if you have a job, the reason you leave a job and go on a job search is always because of a conflict with your boss. There's a saying, people don't quit the company, they quit their boss. We used to not know whether that was true for doctors, but typically there's a conflict with your supervisor if you end up needing to do a job search. Which means when you do your job search, you have to add in questions when you're on your site visits and when you're interviewing people ahead of time that ask about who's my boss, what's their decision-making style, how do you make decisions around here, what happens if you don't agree, because those kind of concerns around leadership and your boss are what's going to drive you to go to a job search. And you don't want to, uproot your family and have to do a job search and switch if you don't have to. Now, the most important thing if you're going to search for a new job is to have a target, something that you're aiming at. Ideally, it's your ideal job description, which is why we always start. What's your ideal job description? In a perfect world, what would your practice look like? You need to write that down in as much detail as possible, because when you go for your job interviews, when you're talking to a recruiter, you're going to want to tell them exactly what you're looking for. What kind of hours, what kind of pay, what kind of patients, what kind of procedures, what kind of team, where in the country or where in the world. And without that ideal job description, it's really difficult to have a high-quality job search, because what we're looking to do is make as high a quality decision as possible. And remember, I said people quit their job because of leadership issues. You want to write down a whole list of questions before you go on an on-site interview that's meant to ferret out how much of a match you have in this job between this job and your ideal job description. You also want to be able to ask questions about leadership, about who your boss is going to be, so you know there's a good fit there as well.